Hiya guys, hope you're well. So I've come across a little bit of a family heirloom. I don't know if it's quite that, but when I first saw it, I thought, oh my word, that is a lady's watch. But then you look at this and how much smaller it is still. I'm not really into vintage watches, but as a watch enthusiast, if someone says, oh, there's found an old watch in your house, you're going to be a little bit interested, aren't you? So I just thought I'd make a really short video on it. I don't know whose it is. I'm Andrew, and I'm a watch addict. So it's my wife's side of the family. She thinks it's possibly a granddad. She didn't really know her granddad on her mother's side. He died, unfortunately, quite young. And we think possibly this has been left behind for him. It's not working, obviously, because it's just so old. It's been left in a suitcase for years on end. And as I say, I'm not really into vintage watches. A watch from 2019 is vintage to me. So something like this, it's almost an interest for something that's a piece of history almost. Not particularly any desire to wear a 28mm watch, but it's so delicate, it's so dainty. And that first time I saw it, I looked down, I'm like, oh, that must be a lady's watch. But then we pulled this out of the bag and you're like, oh, yeah, it's definitely a man's watch. Yeah, you've got a crazy looking dial. It's got a really unique pattern on it, actually. It's quite trendy, it's quite modern. And on top of that, the way the case opens as well is really strange. It just opens and the whole of the glass opens up from one side, and then you can literally pick the movement out, which is absolutely bonkers. And underneath it says the BWC London made. I'm guessing that's the British watch company. A quick check online, there isn't really much about them, to be honest. So London made watch, 28mm. I mean, get these stats, guys. This is crazy. 28mm, 32mm diagonal, 30mm lug to lugs. 30mm lug to lug. That's bonkers, isn't it? I talk about how 4950 is almost acceptable. That's literally 2 centimeters more. 10.7mm thick, and it's got quite a modern 19mm bracelet. It doesn't taper, and I think it must be gold for a watch of this age. But it's crazy looking. It's got a small seconds dial as well. And you can actually still wind the movement when you take it out, and you can set the time up, but there's nothing else going on in there. It sounds quite clunky as well. But again, just a little bit of history, really. And the thing that interested me the most was this J. Sugden watchmaker and jeweler, 12 Imperial Arcade, Huddersfield, and that's the bit at the beginning of the video, Imperial Arcade. And again, a quick search online, there's no J. Sugden watchmakers anywhere, there's no information at all. I found a J. Sugden watchmaker in Sheffield, but very, very limited information again, so these are lost to time, so I don't know anything about these as a company. But get the telephone number, 3825, just the 4 digits for the telephone number. So God, I have no idea when that be. That must be 50s, 60s maybe. I'm totally guessing, but really quite interesting that something's just been sat there, and here I am talking about watches like a nerd, and this little gem pops up into my life. So again, it's quite interesting. And what what is interesting, because it's practically a gold square watch, I've got the bronze Bell and Ross in for review at the moment. Good Lord, there is a smidge of size difference, but square and gold looking, I suppose it's still in fashion, isn't it? But things are just getting a little bit bigger, a little bit different in design. If you know anything about the BWC watch company, leave me a comment, give me a bit more information on it, guys. It's just, it'll go back in the suitcase. I'll probably never do anything with it. That doesn't smell a leather, whatever it is, a little bit foisty. But yeah, I just thought it's quite interesting, really. I'm not a vintage guy, but just a little bit of history. And what I did find interesting, if you hark back to some of my earlier videos, I actually found a 100-year-old Rolex in my house. That was in 2016, and that was really exciting because I thought I were in for the big bucks, but it was a lady's watch, delicate thing like this. It wasn't really expensive, it was too old, no one going to wear it because it was so delicate. But when I just got into watches and I'd found a 100-year-old Rolex, I was like, ho, 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 ka-ching! but it wasn't to be. But the excitement alone, it was just a great story for me to tell, to be honest. It was just so exciting, so different to find something so old. And again, when I found this, I thought, yeah, I'll make a little video on it. But is anyone interested in vintage watches that are this old? I know, like the subs from the 80s or anything like that, or Patek Philippe watches, but does anyone actually like watches that are this old and delicate? Bizarre, isn't it, really? The technologies have advanced so much that it just, they're relegated to history, and there's nothing more for them, really. Sentimental value, we're not even sure whose it is, but it's just a nice little bit of history. Right, guys, quick video. See you in the next one. Over and out.